Greetings, greetings everyone, beautiful souls. How are we doing? Today is December 3rd. It's the full moon in Gemini and we're also in Mercury retrograde. I am going to wait a few minutes to see if anyone comes on, and I'm going to send some invitations out as well. Ooh, give me a moment. Give me a moment, give me a moment, give me a moment. To get as much invites out as possible. Oh, my finger. A lot of shifts happening all around. Yes, there is. So much to talk about. Oh. Fingers are okay, so I sent out as much invitations as I can. Okay, greetings. How is everyone doing today? I just went to send out some invitation. Hello, greetings Ayuki. Greetings, Hannah, Smith, Mohammed. Thank you for joining me today. If you're still here, I was coming on live today because I was guided actually. And I want this to be interaction. Peace be unto you. Peace be unto each and every one of you that's on here today. I was just starting to play a little music. You know, this is by Teddy Pendergrass, Wake Up Everybody, you know. Anybody knows I love to play music in the background because it helps to shift energy, and it also helps to keep alchemizing everything, because you know every one of us is carrying stuff within us. So it's a full moon in Gemini today. Yes, it is. And also Mercury retrograde. I have so much to talk about, but I also would like for this to be interactive. I wanted to start out by saying that I am offering my 30-minute readings for this month of December, half off, which is $44. So if anyone is interested in any type of reading, I do twin flame readings, I do ascension readings, I do any type of reading to do with whatever it is that you might be experiencing now. And also I'm a medium as well, so I have tagged the information in a previous thing that I posted on Facebook. So if anyone is interested in a reading, I am available for that as well. Hello, Kristen. How are you, darling? How are you today? How is everything going? I wanted to start by at least start out. If anyone has anything that they'd like to share, what is happening with them, that'll be great to share with me what's happening with you during this full moon time frame. I know that there's quite a bit of messages that I've received from many who have been going through a lot of ascension symptoms, and one of them in particular is to do with sleeping, a lot of sleeping and resting. And you know, even today I was just sleeping. It's like I get up and then I went back to sleep. I did a reading for someone, I went back to sleep, and then I had a dream. Okay, Jacqueline, you said you've been battling shaman sickness. It's so hard to say. What do you mean by battling shaman sickness? Because I know when it comes to shaman energy, it's geared towards healing, you know, for the mind, body, and soul as far as being a shaman. So to me, that feels more like you are experiencing yourself as who you are as a shaman. But don't look at it as a sickness, because, you know, as your body is templating more of your higher self, it's going to come across as a sickness for you. And it's going to feel intense. So just ride through the feelings that you're having, and also allow yourself to let go of any belief systems as well. Because a lot of the belief systems, which is what I'm going to be talking about, especially what this full moon means. And it has to do with, I don't know if any one of you have read what I posted to do with the full moon, because it is very powerful out there. If you go outside and look, you can see how powerful it is. And what makes it even more intense for this month is because Mercury is in retrograde. And what it is like, I was telling someone today, it's almost like we're backtracking and reviewing a lot of the experiences that we've had in this lifetime and other lifetimes. And then we're also speeding up at the same time. So you can feel like your body is going through so much energetic shifts. And a lot of it has to do with letting go of a lot of the belief systems that we carry within our bodies and our souls. And as we're releasing that, is that we're aligning ourselves with the truth. That's the key thing to what's happening, is aligning ourselves with the truth. If you're holding on tightly to things that are not, I would say, within what the truth is for you, or what your soul is desiring to experience, because your soul is what speaks the loudest, you know, your soul is what speaks the loudest to what is happening and what it is for you to let go of. So this supermoon is about connecting to the truth, and it includes the truth of who you are, the truth in terms of the your true belief systems, and not what is based on what your family and, you know, your relatives or your co-workers or anybody else that will dictate to you as far as what the truth is. So all of this is what's necessary for you to understand what's going on, because, you know, Spirit told me from 2 months now, focus on what is happening astrologically, not just the old stuff, which I'm sure if many of you do not know me, you know, or anyone who does know me, that anything that I've spoken about all the time is that some of the things that we may have been taught and what we know from books and stuff like that, scripture scrolls and all that stuff. Yes, it's lovely to have that information, but we must remain in the now present moment, because if you do not let go sometimes of what you've read before in the past and what comes from our ancestors, then guess what happens? You stay stuck. You stay stuck, and you still continue spiraling in that same energy that continues on, and you're not able to move forward. And so you'll have all these other experiences that you're having and not being able to understand it, not being able to move through it and what you're shifting to do with yourself during these changes. Okay, so one of the things to do with the energy of the full moon also has to do with the gifts that you're bringing on, what you're bringing on in terms of manifestation. What are you manifesting for yourself? The last Facebook Live I did with Patty, I was talking about some experiences that I had to do with the manifestation. What is the true power of this manifestation and what it does for you? What we're doing to manifest things into this physical reality. And as your soul is progressing more and more into what it desires, then what happens is, if anything that you're holding on to, even in your subconscious mind, okay, that you're not even aware of, habits that you have, things that you eat, places that you go, and if it's not suiting your highest and best purpose, then what's happening is that it's going to keep breaking down and breaking down and breaking down. Okay, that's exactly what's happening. So it's important to be conscious of what you do, be conscious of what you speak, what you say, and how you're aligning with it, and where it brings you in terms of your ascension and for your own awakening, especially for the, you know, during this time of ascension. So one of the things that I wanted to point out, because hello, Engel, Nina, greetings. How are you? How's the baby? I want to send out love and light to each and every soul that's on here with me, that's watching, and anything that you want to share, what's happening with your journey, please feel free to share this with me, because I love to have interaction. And also I bring all the pieces together, you know. So just to introduce myself again, I am the one that my son is in Aquarius, so I'm the one that's beginning everything to do with the age of Aquarius, and I'm so ahead in light frequency with all these messages and putting all the pieces together, because I can pick up on everything energetically, what is happening in the collective consciousness. Okay, I'm also going to be discussing messages and stuff that's been going on to do with twin souls, twin flames, because I am a twin flame. I am an empathic reader. I'm an empath, so I'm able to pick up on everything and anything energetically, what is happening with myself and others, and also what is happening collectively at the same time. So everything that we're experiencing, the moon, the planets, everything is coming into alignment to what is happening for us to shift. And as we continue with our shifts, a lot of things are coming into alignment by certain dates and times to where we are in our journey. And not everyone is on the same, I would say, path, but we're all still moving through these frequencies. And one of the main themes, as I was stating before, has to do with aligning with our truth. Everything that you think you want to keep hiding, and hiding how you feel and hiding all of that stuff, well, guess what? The truth is going to come out. The truth, even if you speak something and saying something, but you're not speaking from your heart and what the truth is, guess what? You're going to find yourself speaking it out anyway, and stepping back and say, oh my God, that's not what I wanted to say. But guess what? Your soul wants you to say it. And please please stop sending me messages if it has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, because I'm not on here to be dating anyone or trying to get attention to be okay. So I just want to let you know that. If not, then please step to the side. So anyway, this has to do with how we're aligning with the truth of who you are, your true desires. Where are you on your journey when it comes to your your partners? Where are you on your journey when it comes to love and true love, and how you're manifesting all the desires of your heart and coming into alignment with it? Okay, because right now we're in a place where this has to do with our soul evolution, and it's becoming supernatural. It's becoming supernatural for me, and it's probably becoming supernatural for you. And this has to do with how much we're balancing out our chakras, and we're balancing out everything with realigning with our chakras, the lower and the higher chakras. Because as you know, everything that's happening with your physical body is what is aligning with what's coming from your soul. So what's happening is that we're having to clear out everything that is happening in the lower chakras, so that way everything starts to come even more into alignment to what you are manifesting into your reality. Okay. Now, there was something that was brought to my attention, as far as our ancestors and what it has been like for them, from the past, because they didn't have Facebook, they didn't have Twitter, and they didn't have Instagram. They didn't have Snapchat. They didn't have any of that stuff. What they had was connecting to the divine, connecting to the frequencies, connecting to the moon, connecting to the sun, connecting to the stars. Almost everyone out there that's putting out messages, they're putting out messages in reference to aligning with the divine and the messages that are coming with your connection to your spirit guides, connection to your divine counterparts, connecting to your dreams. What are you having in your dream state, your waking state? Paying attention to all of that, paying attention to what's coming from within you. And once again, not only to do with the books and things that come from the past and all of that stuff. Do you understand what I'm saying? Huge, huge difference when it comes to that. Because if you stay only in that space with only to do with things from the past only, as I stated before, you will stay stuck. Because we are functioning in other dimensions, and it's not just this one dimension. So can you give me just 1 second, because that person who keeps sending me, that thing, it's just really annoying me right now. So just give me 1 second. Okay. All right. I'm back again. So what's happening is that we're functioning in other dimensions, and it's not just this dimension. And too often, especially with twins, get caught up in just what's happening in the 3D world and just what's showing from your divine counterparts in terms of what they're physically doing, what they're physically saying or not saying, and stepping into that space of what they're saying and not looking at it also from what is the energy showing you. What is the energy showing you? When you allow yourself to be in that space of paying attention to also what is happening in 5D and above, and aligning it with what's happening physically, then you're able to be in a greater flow of what is happening around you and where you are on your journey. Because like I said before, not everyone is on the same, I would say, state, as far as their journey, as far as those who are twins. Okay. And it's important, once again, to either write things down. If you don't write it down, talk to someone who can even help you to align it together to what is happening, so you know where you are on your journey. Because you see, everything that you're used to in terms of what you're used to doing physically before, your soul is taking you on a path where it is time to let go of what you only see in your physical reality. There's also something to look at to how you're bringing yourself into greater peace and alignment, because when you're coming into this reunion of the soul and reunion in the physical sense as well, this also has to do with being in that space of harmony, a space of peacefulness, a space of joy, and recap, because we're disintegrating everything that's old and integrating everything that is coming in new, but we have to be able to allow ourselves for the new stuff to come in and let go of these old belief systems and even some of the things that are triggering you into that, and how you're able to move through it and let go and release, because that's the part of the alchemy and what is happening for you. And so if you feel that you are not in your truth, and that means if you're not even allowing yourself to be empowered by who you are, if you have someone that's trying to tell you that you need to stay married to someone because according to the Bible you're supposed to stay married to them till death do you part, which you're already dying inside, then that's not aligning with your truth. If you feel that you cannot tell someone how you feel in terms of your feelings and you're allowing yourself to be suppressed by this, then you're not aligning with your truth. Okay. And if you're allowing someone to tell you what to do with your life, then that means that you're not stepping up to who you are and being empowered. You're disempowering yourself. So it's all these things to think about when it comes to truth and what it means. And this is a part of what is happening to do the Gemini super full moon, because it's illuminating things when it comes to the truth. You're being shown even more now what is lighting up on your path for you to be truthful about yourself. Even if it's about what your passion is, what you love to do, and not have anyone tell you that you shouldn't do it. Do you see what I'm saying? So that is some of the stuff that I wanted to share with you as well. The full moon also has to do with being driven and guided by the heart and dissolution of the ego, dissolving the ego, and once again being in truth with who you are. This also has to do with how we are aligning with our high vibrational partnerships. Okay, now I would love if any one of you who is watching, if you can tell me anything that you've been experiencing for the past 2 to 3 days, because one of the things that has come up also is cheating. I had a message that came into me from 2 divine feminines today. One I did a reading for, the other one was just in conversation. One of them had a dream that had to do with cheating. And I thought it was quite interesting because when I woke up this morning and then I went back to sleep again, it's like I was just in bed all day, just sleeping. And it's like I just couldn't get up. I didn't have any energy to do it. It's like I just was like, I had no desire to get up. And the whole day, and I already was like told ahead of time from Spirit from yesterday, hey, you're going to do a Facebook Live. You're not going to cook today because it takes me hours to cook. And it's like, no, you're going to be giving these messages. And it's like, well, what am I going to say? Because I don't want to be repeating the same thing over and over again. But it so happens that I end up falling back asleep and having my own dream to do with something to do with cheating. And I said to the person who I did the reading for, I told her, I said, there's a perception that we have to do with cheating. But then also there was something to look at when it comes to sexuality, when it comes to the feminine, when it comes to the masculine and their thoughts about sexuality, thoughts about the feminine, his perception about, who she is and her perception about him. Also, all the things that are coming up in the media to do with sexual acts that are committed against some females and also males on males, all of that. And so when I tuned into all of that, I said, what is happening is that a lot of things that are changing within the masculine frequency is the thoughts about sex, okay, and how it's viewed, and the female body. Also, when some of them want to take advantage and have power over a female when it comes to her body and sexuality. Marriages that are arranged, okay, even what was on the news to do with young females, forced to get married and all that stuff at the age of 14 and stuff. Also those who have put themselves in, I would say, in a category to have control over a female when it comes to being married to her and stuff like that, or she does the dishes or she does that. It's all these different beliefs and perception and stuff that's shifting and changing. Also, based on the dream that I had, my mom was in there. It also has to do with, people who get involved in all of these sexual activities in which you're mixing energy with other people and there is no purity with it, or not placing it in any judgment. But this has to do with how, let me see, I'm trying to find the right word. Even with rape, even with like somewhere the mother sleeps with the daughter's boyfriend, you know, because that's a part of what I dreamt this morning, and how that was shifting. Or even, you know, you're married to someone and they're having sex with multiple people at the same time. Because one of the things that was shown to me from 2 years ago, you know, with messages that I received from Spirit, is that we are heading into a place of integrity with truth that's aligned with our partnerships, okay? Because this is where the true divine partnerships are coming into place. Even if it's not a twin flame, then it's your divine complement. It's a higher vibration. It's a higher vibrational frequency. And so I know that in some cases there's some who feel that you know, you're having relationships with someone, but pay attention to the relationships that you have had in the past, okay, or even in the present. And these relationships are the key to you seeing what has been happening in your life that reflects from your twin or your divine complement. In my case, I have both. And then what it does, because it's like I've repeated the same patterns of things that I experienced with them to what I have now. And so what it does, it helps to put it into perspective, not only to what you're healing, but also what you're shifting. Even my son's father, my second oldest son's father, passed away 2 years ago. He happened to come into the car when I was driving on my way home on Friday. And I said, "Oh, you're here." And he said yes. And when he had passed away, we didn't resolve certain things, but I was in so much pain because I didn't know he was sick, and he passed away from something that was a terminal illness. And so by the time I saw him in the hospital, I was devastated. So there were still things that were unresolved. So even during the course of the healing that we're doing, we're still healing within ourselves and with our ancestors and with our loved ones who have passed on, regardless of what type of relationship we've had. And so I said to him again, I said, "I forgive you even more for what I've," because I will be very upfront with you, and I'm going to be very truthful with you. The relationship that he and I had, yes, I had an attraction towards him, but it was based on sex. It was just sex, sex, sex. So it wasn't based on true love. But I know and understand that he was preparing me for my ultimate true divine partner. And so I look at it and I realize what happened during that time, what I went through with him when I was in my 20s. And no, I'm not in my 20s now. But at that time, I knew that I was becoming stronger within myself. So feminine, realize that you are allowing yourself to become empowered by the experiences that you have had in the past with others, especially if it was a male, if it has to do with that type of dynamic frequency. Okay. Now I'm going to stop and pause right here, and I'm going to go to the comments, because I know a lot of times I go on, and I want to be able to interact with you, so that way we're bringing all these pieces together, because the more we bring these pieces together, the more we're able to free ourselves and to come together. Because even the union is in and of itself to do with ourselves. The union also has to do with the union with each other. Okay, it's not separated. So I'm going to go to you, Jacqueline. I want to make sure I don't miss out anyone. Yes, Jacqueline. I had to get rid of him because it's just so rude, and it's that type of energy I'm talking about with certain oh, excuse me, where did I go? Oh, where did I go? I don't see myself. I'm trying to get myself. Oh, I pressed the thing the other way. That's what it is. See, even his energy alone had me do that. Okay, so now I got to go back and find the comments again. I hope I didn't lose the comments. Okay. Thank you all those who are joining me. Jasmine, greetings, Jasmine. Greetings from Australia. Thank you for joining me. Bernard, Carlos, thank you. Miss Berry, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, Jacqueline, you said last night, Gaia, I'm assuming talking about Mother Gaia, told you that we're transmitting the trauma being done to the divine feminine attempts to exploit her energy. Yes, for sure. Most definitely, because the dream that I had, without naming names, but the dream that I had to do with my mom and my divine complement. And in the dream, it's like we were together interacting, and it's like it was like snow on the ground, and it was it was like as if I was in, like there were rows of homes and they were like dormitories or something, like college dormitories. And I'm going to just talk some parts of the dream, but not all of it. But I did analyze it, and I realized that I was also having to have that dream to also talk about what's happening collectively with the masculine and the feminine. And so these distorted energy of cheating, deceit surrounding their counterparts, because I had said before, in the beginning of time, when we start off from the beginning, when I say beginning, I'm talking about Lemuria, Atlantis, and the biblical sense, the book of Genesis, where there's two parts of creation. And we all were with our true divine counterparts. That was paradise. And I have stated before that during that course of time, during paradise, we were in our blissfulness. And so we went and descended in consciousness, and we descended into lower levels in order to forget who we are so we can remember who we are. And during that course of time, we were in our power tremendously, okay? In all of our power, in all of our glory, in all of our magnificence, okay? Everything was granted to us immediately just based on consciousness. It didn't have to do with doing anything. And so as we went through all of the course of time and history, we did that so we can come back to that place of remembering ourselves. And so we went through levels of incarnation, which is where twin souls come in, where we had many, some have many, some have, I believe, few lifetimes to gain experience and knowledge. So what happened is, as we descended during that time, the purity of love, the purity of sex disintegrated as well. And so a lot of things that happened during history, which I'm not going to go into all of that because, it's the energy, allows you to go low. And like I said, we just go there for a little bit and then we come back up again, is that things were written in history that were, I would say false, left out. The feminine was left out, the feminine frequency, the feminine energy. And so sexuality was, distorted. It was distorted as well, because, even for myself, I know I have a lot of sexual energy, and each female, the ones who are in the female body that carries the sexual energy, that sacred feminine sexual energy, what it does, it brings things alive again. It brings things into balance on the planet. That's what had been missing. So because it had been distorted with all of the energy that has happened to females with rape and go sleep with this one, and they're not really your energetic match. And then other society and cultures would say, oh no, it's okay, keep on with the experimentation, go have sex with anyone else, or go be in these arranged marriages, and they're bringing their alliance together, which only had to do with the physical money and physical stuff. But what happened is that things were not aligning energetically throughout centuries anymore. And that's why things continue to fall apart, and people are continuing to be in fake relationships and fake paradigms and following what, their parents did, and their parents' staying in loveless marriages, loveless relationships. Then that energy was carrying on within the feminine womb. And what happened is, every female who has their cycle, their moon cycle, you carry these eggs that have the same frequency of that child, where eventually when you conceive that child, you're carrying that frequency again of the same patterns that are repeated and repeated and repeated. And so all of those distortedness and stuff that has happened throughout centuries is what we're clearing out. We're clearing out. Already what you have been experiencing throughout all of your relationships, whether you are married to the person or not. And so as we continue on the path of clearing that out and being in our truth, you already know in your heart who you're connected to. If you haven't met who you're connected to, then whoever you're with is helping you on that path to who you are now becoming connected to. If you understand what I mean, because, everyone's, experience is not going to be the same. But the universal thing is that we're heading back to a place of purity where we're all aligning with our true love, aligning with our true partners, becoming outspoken with our truth, with how we feel with one another. And also the sexual energy that we have, okay, whether male or female, there will be a time on this planet, because I had the experience already, where I was also in love with a male and a female, but it doesn't mean that I take a physical action with that person. It's because it's a higher state of love. It's a higher feeling and expansion of love. And that expansion of love is what we're going to be recreating on the earth with others. And that includes even who you're blood related to. And you're going to find yourself saying, oh my God, I feel so in love with this person and I want to make love to them, because it's that energy of making love to each other energetically is what keeps things alive. So I'm just explaining that part to you because I know not too much people talk about it yet, but this is where we're heading. But you have to clear out the distorted energy and thought patterns and beliefs surrounding sex and understand it is sacred. It is extremely sacred. Be mindful of who you feel that you're going to have sex, because you're carrying more energy and more karma with that person, and having to clear through that energy with that person and where you're heading to right now for yourself, because it is like as if you are creating more baggage. So I wanted to at least give you that information, and even though I know I went into even greater detail, Jacqueline, but that's why I'm glad to have the conversation, so that way I don't leave anything out. So Nina, he says you've been having lots of adult dreams with your twin flame, even though he's sleeping next to you. It's like desire between us, but can't be intimate for now. Didn't stop us from cuddling and being close. Oh, wait. Shoot, I almost deleted the thing by accident. Trying to click on see more, and it keeps going back to the thing. Wait 1 second. Okay. And you says that it's like desire between us, but you can't be intimate for now. Didn't stop us from cuddling and being cool, but I feel the energy very high tension as well. Okay. When it comes to twin flames, twin souls, and this energy, there are moments when you're going to be having sacred sexual energy and feeling, even though they're right next to you, because your higher selves is in contact with each other. So even the dream I had this morning too, which I've had that with my both with my divine complement and my twin, where their energy is with me in the higher realms as well. And then with one, it might be one physical, and then there's higher realms with both. So because it's not just what your physical body is up to, it's also what your soul is up to. And so the dreams are starting to become more intense for a lot of us, because, or even more descriptive, I should say, because I was told, two other feminine that I was in contact with, also had waking dreams, not just sleeping dreams, to what was happening with them, with their twin or their divine counterpart. And it always has something to do with releasing something. It could be something to do with them, having a child with someone else. It could be something to do with physical abuse or verbal abuse, or it could be something to do with, like in my case, what I had was something to do with my mother. I didn't have anything to do with my mom in this lifetime, to do with anyone that I had been involved with. But in this lifetime, what she showed me, like she was sitting on his lap, and it was showing me some sort of intimacy that was taking place. But you see, what was also happening, because it was more than one thing that was happening in this dream, is that I was releasing the distorted thoughts and beliefs surrounding intimacy. Because even if I say, have you been intimate with your child today? Have you been intimate with your neighbor today? Right away, the first thing someone would think about is, oh, you're talking about sex? Oh, that's disgusting, or something like that. And then there's a judgment placed on it. But intimacy involves also touching, laying next to each other, hugging one another, sitting on someone's lap, holding hands. And so if there's some distortion around that based on the perception that is put out there from one person to the next, then that in and of itself is what is to be healed, okay? Because it's coming into the true intimacy is what brings things into alignment and harmony with true love. Because, for you to come to that place where you're able to experience true love, we have to let go of the distortions that we have surrounding love, surrounding sex, surrounding how we feel about each other as a male and female. You see what I'm saying? So I just wanted to give you that information. So let me go to the next. Ayuki, you have a twin. Okay, great. Yes, there's some of us that will have a twin and a divine complement, because another thing too is that it was shown to me that many of us from the beginning of time, we had more than one divine counterpart, okay? And in some cases, it comes as a twin and a divine complement. It's a choice, I know, with what one may say, well, I don't want to have more than one person in my life, but let me tell you something. I'm going to say this again and again because I'm here to speak the truth and not to have anything distorted anymore, because I am used as a vessel to the Holy Spirit, to whatever message I'm to give, is that it has always been the desire where the feminine, I don't know if any of you have ever seen Maleficent. Someone I read for this evening, the message just came through to me using Maleficent, okay? I love that movie. She started out where she was in her castle as a little girl, and she was in all of this love energy and bubble of love and joy with the garden, the flowers and everything, right? The animals, all of that, right? That's how it starts out. And then what happens is she was as powerful as she can be. She was very powerful, Maleficent, you know? So I love these children's stories. And even though it's not a children's story, it has to do with an adult, but it's still a combination of that frequency of a child and an adult at the same time, right? Divine story. And what ended up happening is that there was an energy of jealousy and envy to do with her powers. And so her powers were diminished and taken away because she had the power to fly, and she also had vision, you know, and stuff like that. And then because that happened, it turned to sorrow and pain. You know, this is how it always starts out, but during the course of the pain she had, and she was trying to destroy that child, right, to get even, she ended up loving that child and rearing that child. And it's through that love that she had for that child. That was true love. That is also what true love is. True love is not just to do with it in a romantic sense, but it's the true love that we have for each other. The true love that we have for everything that is living, everything that's alive within you, as that you're connected to within your soul, and not pushing it aside and saying, no, I don't need that. No, I don't need that. Because you see, everything you push away, or anyone that you push away in terms of what is to come for you, that's you. Look at it as you. That's a part of you. And Maleficent, when she realized the connection she had to that child, that she was, you know, she placed the curse upon that child. And what ended up happening is that she ended up giving that child a kiss that brought her back to life. Okay? Brought her back to life. And when she saw how she was brought back to life, it brought her back to life. You see, so it always starts from the feminine first. She brings herself back to life. She empowers herself. She lifts herself up. She brings herself into this energy and everything to who she is as the goddess. And as she does that and restores herself back to life, then what happens is her divine counterpart, it just comes right in. And this has to do with your match now, I'm talking, okay? And this has to do with everything that comes together, male, female, masculine, feminine, whichever way, because, you know, Spirit showed me that there are many templates. When I say many, I'm not talking about 20, 30. I'm talking about twos and pairs and threes. There's male, female, 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 male, male, two females, one male, two males, one female. It could be three males, three females, okay? A lot of things are shifting when it comes to dynamic relationships on this planet. Who said that relationships only comprises of a male and female and it's only two? Well, I'm about to give you the surprise of your life. If you're not surprised at all, it's going to be templates of three as well. And I know there's some that may start wrestling with that, oh, I can't be with two people, but it's not about the physical. It has to do with the union of the soul. What is being templated on this earth through Mother and Father God, as it started out through this Christ consciousness. This has to do with what is templating with this consciousness in truth, and what is aligning more and more from your soul. And if you're in resistance to it, then what's going to happen is going to keep breaking down and breaking down and breaking down and breaking down. And that's exactly what it is. And so if you are walking that path, there is no set formula to how we're going to continue on this path. And it's just to be continuously in divine flow of this path. Okay. So I just wanted to let you know. Okay. So let me go to Alicia. Greetings, Alicia. You said you've been expressing this more and more lately as you're healing your sexual wounds. If people would only wake up to the power of sexual energy. But that's right. The sexual energy is extremely powerful. And you see, a lot of times, like I said, what it's been taught throughout history is that that energy itself is just for procreation, you know, and it is not just for procreation. It is what comes into creation from that sexual energy. And it doesn't have to necessarily be, you know, to do with a child. It could also be anything that you are manifesting into your reality, what is coming together, what is within your desire. But it has to do with aligning with that desire. And that's why that sacred space with your womb space is sacred. It is sacred. And it's coming back into that place of purity that comes with it, where we're aligning with ourselves and aligning with our true divine partners. But you must be born again. You must go through the alchemy of what you are healing and clearing. You must go through these stages and steps of what you're releasing with your belief systems. What are your judgments, you know? How much do you believe in yourself and the magic that you are? You know, because it really does become magical. And within that moment that you're having your doubts, that you're having your fears, that you're having what you call negative, because you see, it's these labels and names that you place on these things is what has caused things to be out of alignment for you, and why it's necessary to let go of the dogma, the fears, and also the belief system, so that way you can move forward in a much lighter way. Because to me, I say this, when you're going through an experience and you're not even realizing what it's doing for you, and once you feel heavy with that, once you're feeling heavy with that, then you know what that's telling you? That's telling you it's time to let go. Because if you keep holding on to that experience and it's not serving you well, and you're worried about what somebody's going to say about it, or a decision to make or something like that, then you're going to still stay heavy with it. And when you release it, you set yourself free. You set yourself free. But if you don't release it and set yourself free, then what's happening is that the planets and everything is coming more and more into alignment of you being in your truth and not living a lie, and also uncovering everything about yourself, uncovering everything about your life. That even if it's attached to someone or something, then it's time to let go of those attachments. Even including how you feel about yourself, to let go of those attachments, because it may not be healthy for you anymore. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you. But yes, definitely, the sexual energy and frequency is shifting on the planet, and this is what this full moon is illuminating also. And it's not even just the full moon itself, but even just Scorpio, because we're in Jupiter and Scorpio. Every planet is playing a role in everything that's shifting for each and every person. So, the more things come out in the open, even towards the end of this month, okay, it was shown to me from Spirit that something is going to catapult to do with the government, to do with all these things that I've spoken about before. It all comes because Saturn is going into Capricorn. And what happens is more structures that has come from the patriarchal energy, the patriarchal system, is going to continue to break down and fall apart. If you remember that dream I had where Gabrielle Union, I was in a government building, and she came and she stripped off everything off of the walls. And that is what is happening to do with the governmental system. So even that, and all these people, these celebrities that are being, there's disclosure and things coming out in the open to do with their sexual activities or whatever they did in the past. And some people may say, well, why is it coming out 20 years later? And because those people are finally finding the strength and the power to speak up. If you don't speak up to something that's going on that it's not right, it doesn't feel right, how can we expect anything to change? So sometimes it's time to speak up, because when you do speak up, and you're doing that not only for that person, you're doing it for yourself, because you were suppressed in the past. And if you choose not to open up about something that has been bothersome for you, then guess what? You're going to have that experience again through someone else or something else at a later time. That's what it does that's what happens, you see? So that's why we're in this time space where every planet and everything is serving its purpose for the truth to come out, to do with everything and all things. No stone left unturned, because it has to do with what's the highest and best for you, okay? So, Nina, you said you were feeling insecure, and it was like he was cheating. Wow. That seems to be the theme I noticed. Like I said, even if it wasn't a dream, it seems like the feminine have also been experiencing this feeling of someone cheating, or that their counterpart is cheating on them. And, you know, even what's interesting is the fact that all the mask to all of this is coming off. And it doesn't necessarily mean that your partner is cheating on you. And I'm not talking just to do with Nina alone. I'm just talking everyone in general. It's just that that energy of cheating, what has happened in the past, which has to do with the distortion again, the distortion of sexuality, what has occurred with relationships with people who they're in a committed relationship and they go and have something with someone else, and then they're not telling the person what's going on. That's what creates the frequency of cheating. And so throughout the years, as people continue in relationships, and during some time frame, there was no telephone, there was no computers, there was none of this technological stuff. So it's not because if somebody could call and say, hey, guess what? I see so-and-so over your house, or this is doing so-and-so, you know, and we're in an age now where everything is now is being revealed, you know, with things. But because we are holding on to an energy, because that's what it is. It's an energy that makes you feel like as if the person may have been cheating, and therefore be conscious of not projecting that thought and feeling of cheating towards that person, because then we don't want to recreate it again. And so because there has been so much history of people stepping outside of their relationships with no integrity, that is what we're shifting back over to, having relationships that are within integrity. And it's not just, once again, it's not just to do with romantic relationships. It even has to do with business relationships. If you're not operating within integrity to do with business with someone or who you work with or whatever, you know, it's going to come up. It's going to come up to look at. It's going to come up for you to shift with it as well. Okay, because it cannot be ignored anymore. It's like, even for myself, I had an experience with someone 2 days ago, I think, or no, it was the day before yesterday. And, you know, the person was acting like as if they want to have power over me with something that they were doing for me. And I was like, fuck that shit. I was just in a mode like, fuck that shit. I'll just do it on my own. That's it. You know, so there's sometimes that people, you know, you're experiencing power play, which has happened throughout centuries, you know, with males and females, a power play. I'll have power over this one because I got this over this one. So that's also a part of where it comes in with cheating. And it's more like, if it's not cheating, then it's dishonesty or not being in integrity. Okay, that's what I'm calling. And we're now on the path of all of these shifts taking place, and the masculine is now being retemplated, and there's a rebirth that's coming. If you remember the last video I did, I said that there's a rebirth that is coming on, and this rebirth has to do with the masculine energies. Remember, even as in the female, we also have masculine energy. So we are rebirthing what the true divine masculine is. He's powerful within himself, and as he's powerful within himself, he's also lighthearted and coming from his heart space, and therefore the ego is still dissolving more and more. So they're having to be also in their truth. And so is the feminine too, to be in her truth and to continue to be empowered within herself and her feelings, and not disempowering herself with her body, with her mind, with her soul. Okay? All of this is what's happening all dynamically at the same time. And this month is also the representation of, whether it's Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, you know, we all, you know, everyone has whatever way they celebrate the holidays. There's no right and wrong with it. It does have to do with tradition, yes, as well. But it also has to do with energy. What energy does it carry? It carries an energy of magic. It carries an energy of gifting to one another. It also carries an energy of joy. It also carries an energy of peacefulness. It also carries an energy of that rebirth of everything, right? Because even though it is celebrated for thinking that that's the day that Jesus was born, but Jesus wasn't born in December, okay? Yeshua was born during a warm season, but obviously throughout humanity's history, this time is set aside for something, but it's more of an energy. And so the Christ energy is now templating, and it's the process is already starting. And as we're getting ready to be reborn again, remember, it comes in on and on and on. It doesn't end, okay? And we're continuously templating through this Christ energy. And so, as one would say, the story of Aset and Asar, Isis and Osiris, where she resurrect all the parts of yourself. Resurrect all the parts of anything that you're connected to with your divine counterparts, and including all the relationships that you have, okay? And as you resurrect all the aspects of yourself, not leaving anything out, bringing all these pieces together, that is how we're bringing ourselves back into this unity consciousness, into this unison with one another. Once again, that union is not just to do with the union of yourself, but also the union you have with God, the union you have with the divine, the union you have with the cosmos, the union you have with this person and that person, that even during the time of separation, the time that you need for yourself, the time you need to come back to others and yourself, bringing it all into balance and harmony. This is what's happening, and we're going to continue to be reborn and rebirthing, but it's extremely significant during the time that's coming up to do with the winter solstice. So Spirit wants me to also bring that into discussion as well. That winter solstice time frame is when we are really templating even more of the rebirth of the masculine. So as we continue on for the next several weeks, remember that more and more things are going to come up to the surface, because you see, that which is hidden deep into the core, okay? And you say, where is this core? The core goes very deep. It goes very deep to what we have carried for centuries. And remember that we're healing not only what we've experienced, but also our ancestors. So be mindful of when you say ancestors, and when they're coming through, your ancestors are coming through to also show you what they've gone through, so you can heal with them and through them. Even my mom came through for healing for herself, not because I had the same experience, but she had the experience, and I was able to open myself up to paying attention to what she was experiencing to help her to heal through it. So I'm going to read more comments, and if anyone has any questions to ask, please feel free to ask, to share, and I will be more than happy to answer that question. So Nina, you said hurts and pains from the past and feeling detached, but now everything has been blissful and we're both back in alignment with one another in balance since those adult dreams. So when you say adult dreams, I know it might be a little joke, but is it like you're saying, are you talking about to do with sex, or are you talking about to do with whether it's not as a child or something? Because I'm assuming that's what it is. So, which is a part of bringing into balance with the true, because you see, we're bringing in the true sacred sexual energy, where we're not only feeling it, and nothing to do with just the organs, you know, the lower organs of the lower part of your body, to do with your sexual organs, but feeling that heart, light, beautiful love energy from the heart space, feeling it in your entire body. And that's where Spirit is taking us, to that place where everyone is going to feel that type of experience. I know what it feels like, and it is heavenly. You can't sleep. I know there was some divine feminines that just couldn't sleep for hours upon hours and hours, or sleep for 3-4 hours, then wake up again. You know, don't eat at all. Don't feel like eating anything, or, you know, whatever. So anyway, I'm going to continue reading some more comments. You said, Alicia, earlier this year you dreamed you were watching him break up with his girlfriend, and sure enough, he changes her to single, but he won't talk to me. Okay, well, if your twin is, you know, showing, you know, there's that change of, obviously, whatever change is happening is also happening through you. And when you say he won't talk to you, then just look at what is happening within yourself, and how you're communicating with yourself, and how you feel about your communication with yourself. Are you intimate with yourself? Because there's also something to do with intimacy within yourself, and not necessarily relying on how you are, excuse me, wait a minute, I pressed this by mistake. I want not only just how you're feeling, because if your twin is responding to you or not, or talking to you or not, because this is also based on anything that you feel about your twin or your divine counterpart always bring it back to yourself with how you are, and open up yourself to communicating even more, because I feel like there's a part of you that's very sheltered and just, like hoarded up in one place with thoughts and feelings. There's something for you to burst open now into freedom and to shift with things about yourself and how you feel about yourself, okay? Being in expression and also in communication. You understand what I'm saying? And as you open yourself, because you see, one of the things I want to explain too is that there's a misconception sometimes that we tend to look for the other person for them to do certain things and be a certain way. But it's through you, as you start to shift and change, it automatically happens with that person as well. You see, that's how it works. That's the true existence of love. And, Spirit said, you didn't finish, your point to the story to do with Maleficent. Maleficent brought herself back to life through true love. And yes, she had to go out to battle. Yes, she had to go to war. And guess what? She earned her wings back. And not only did she earn her wings back, she got her crown back, her true crown. So you think about what you need to do and to be for yourself to bring back your true love, your true crown, your wings, because you are going to fly, okay? Everyone is going to fly as a choice, though. But if you still keep holding on to the baggages, if you keep holding on to these belief systems, think about, when I said there was a time when I had the experience. I will never forget that. When I was laying on my bed sleeping and I felt an energy just lift me up out of my body, and my soul left out of my body, but I could see myself still attached to my physical body on the bed. And it was daylight hours. And I was traveling the distance. My soul was traveling the distance. And I said, who's here with me? And I heard Yeshua. He was with me. And I said, oh my God, I felt so joyful. And when I went that distance, it was for 2 minutes, 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes practically. And it's within that frequency of 2 minutes that would have felt like maybe 20 minutes or so. But it was so fast. It was so rapid. It was like a speed of light. And when I went, I saw all these stars. And I was like, oh my God, look at all the stars. And within my soul, I knew that all the stars was all of us. Everybody. Nobody left out. I don't business what anybody did before in the past, because all of us serve a purpose to who we are. Even in the killer, the murderer, the this, the that, everyone is serving their purpose of who we are, because it's a soul evolution that we're up to. It's a soul revolution that we are mastering here. Okay. And as I saw the stars and I saw the moon and I saw the sun, I said, hi moon, hi star. Cause I was just this is my soul just having this experience. And then I came right back into my body and I felt so elevated, and it lasted for days and weeks how I was feeling. And I'll never forget that experience. And when I left out of my body, guess what? I didn't have no labels attached to me. Nothing to do with my name, nothing to do with who I am in this life. None of that. Just the freedom to be love and to be an expression of love, and who I was connected to with love on this planet. That's all that remained. You see? So you think about how much baggage you have and how much layers that you have, how much things that you have that you are probably operating, even if it's not deceit, but it's just so hidden. It's just so hidden. And not being in fear of who you are and in fear of what you desire to be or who you love, because that is especially one of the reasons why twin flames are here, is to demonstrate and to show what pure unconditional love is all about. So most of us and some of us are in the first wave to being not only being an expression of this love, but also for this love to be shared on the planet. And that means that as we are ascending into the true nature of who we are, into this true Christ consciousness that's templating, that means that all the old shit, everything's just going to keep breaking down, as I have stated before. Okay. And it's the truth. So let me see any other comments. Ooh, let me see the other stuff. Oh, let's keep on sliding over. Okay, Nina. So you said it was sexual dreams. Okay. All right. So, in either case, definitely what is happening is that we are shifting through our perception about love, our perception about sex, our perception about males and females and who they are and what they mean, as far as sexual beings. To understand her, to understand what her sexuality is, to understand that her sexuality is what brings things alive again, that we're able to be free to roam the planet, whether we choose to be half naked or fully clothed or whatever we choose to desire, that she doesn't have to feel she's pounced on and preyed on, PREYED, and not being able to be an expression of herself. To understand how sacred her yoni is, how sacred your body is, and what this sacredity does for the planet. Okay? Because if we die with all of the thoughts that we have, when I say die, meaning that the death that you have within your soul, the death that you have with how you're living, how you're being, and not being in truth and not being in integrity, that's why things start to die. That's why things start to wither away. Almost every story, every fairy tale, The Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland, all those fairy tale stories, something happened where there was darkness that fell. Something happened where something withered away. And it's always something for Alice or Dorothy to find herself. It's always something for her to remember who she is. If you remember even the Mad Hatter, he said, Alice, you haven't found your muchiness is gone, your muchness. What do you think muchness is? It has to do with the grandest version of who you are. That's what that is. How much greater you are. Did you see the video I sang, How Great Thou Art? I mean, it's a religious song, and I love singing my ritual because it lifts up my soul, because that's the connection that you have to yourself and what you have to the divine, is remembering who you are. And it's through that divinity of remembering who you are, that muchiness, and how grand you are, and that you don't have to be in fear anymore of thinking of what anyone can do to you because of the desires that you have. You see, because as long as you're operating from within integrity, once again, within integrity and truth, it will work out with you as long as you align with it. That is the power of true manifestation. That is the power of who you are and where it takes you. Everything in its grandest way to what you are creating. Okay? And you don't need anyone's permission to be who you are. You don't need anyone's permission to go anywhere. You don't need any permission to be with who you love. You don't need any permission whatsoever to do with any of this, okay? And that is a part of what stepping in your truth is. That is a part of what it means as far as this full moon energy and where it is taking you. So I hope that I have been a great help to each and every one of you. If anyone has any questions or anything at all that you would like for me to discuss, please utilize this moment while I am awake on two different ways, awake, and also awake with my physical eyes. And if you feel that there's anything that I may have left out, please feel free to let me know that, and I'll be very happy to discuss that with you while I'm on here. So if what was I saying? Okay. So what I'll do now then, since no one else has any questions or any other comments or stuff, I'm going to, you're welcome, Nina. You're so welcome. Thank you so much for open heart, because it's having an open heart and an open mind allows the messages to flow, and it allows for each and every one of us to shift, because this is what's important, to shift with things. And when you allow yourself to come to a greater understanding of what is happening with you, but just not being attached to everything, not being attached to the outcomes, not being attached to even what you're creating, because it's through the energy of letting go is what also allows things to manifest. Okay. So Ayuki says you received the Ankh symbol in your third eye. Can you tell me what that means? When you said you received the symbol, are you talking about physically or in a dream or energetically? Explain to me what you mean by that. I mean, I just want to say this, okay? Because I keep it very real. As you know, that I'm very connected back to Egypt, and I am the reincarnation of Queen Nefertiti, and also from the beginning of time as the first daughter. And excuse me, a lot of the things that we've experienced as I'm processing. As you all know that during that time, there were certain customs and things that we did during the course of our culture. And as you uncover yourself, as you unlock who you are, you're going to bring up things that come from your past lives, which I have done that. And I realized for myself recently that I shifted even more from my identity to who I have been as Nefertiti. Doesn't mean that I've let go myself as her. It's just that I've gone even more and beyond that as, than ever before. But like I said, I still have that identity with me because that was a time when I had a lot of power within myself. But of course, a lot of the feminine had went through so much suppression and repression. A lot of suppression of who she is, suppression of her sexuality, and all of that. So when I think of the Ankh symbol, I'm not going to tell you that I know exactly what it means, because I know that we can easily look it up and say, what does it mean? But to me, it's more like an activation of your crown chakra, because, we're activating a lot of our chakras within our bodies. Some of us may be feeling tingling and feeling, all of this, like some may feel headaches and pains. I didn't have any of that experience of headache and pain in my crown chakra right here. And when you are having or seeing these visions in that past life, bear in mind that you're also taking some stuff that's baggage with you as well. Okay. So be mindful of how it makes you feel when you are seeing things in meditation, because I know there's times when we'll see things and say, oh my God, I resonate with this. Oh, this makes me feel, I remember this. But then remember that we're bringing up memories of the past to do with what was good and not so great either. But even in the midst of what was not so great, it's not to put judgment on it, because the soul is on purpose to what it chooses to experience, so that way it remembers itself. You're remembering yourself. And as we go into these memories, we're bringing and integrating more of the power that we have within us from that time space. But then guess what? Always remember to come back to the present. Always remember to come back to now, because it's in the now that we are also empowering ourselves. Everything that is happening during this ascension, it's not been done before. It has not been done before. So it's like we're shifting things as we go along. Okay, as we go along. And it's about paying attention to what messages that you're receiving during your meditation, during your dreams. Okay, and it's not just sleeping dreams, it's also the waking dreams. It's both. Okay, it works, it's both hand in hand. Write them down, record them. Okay, pay attention to what comes out of the mouth of your divine counterparts, what's being said, and put the pieces together. It's all the pieces that you put together is what makes up that big puzzle in your life, and what you're doing to bring yourself back together again. It is true, that story, that children's story again. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Humpty Dumpty put her and himself back together again from falling apart. It's through the falling apart, when you allow yourself to step back and look at yourself as if you're watching a movie. It's your movie. Look at each person to what you're experiencing, and instead of judging it or looking at it as bad or good or oh, it's negative, oh, I'm dealing with it, and look at it as what is showing up in my space, what is showing up in my reality that is allowing me to remember more about myself. You see, that is where you take it. That is what allows you to have your journey feel easier. Notice the word I said, easier, and not creating a disease or disheartenment. Okay. Don't forget to laugh. Laugh and have fun even while you're going through this, even if it's not as great as it may appear to be. Because it is through the moments of laughter, dancing, and joyfulness and all that stuff, that's where you're creating alchemy. Okay, so even if you go from a space of cussing or something, or cussing something off, don't forget to go back into the space of laughter and joy, and and bring yourself to it until it comes to a point where it's automatic for you. It's not where you have to think about it. It just happens, and it starts to vibrate towards you, because it's all based on your vibration. Everything is vibratory. Everything is moving towards you because of how you feel about it. And as you create that space of what you're creating, it's like, remember, you're bringing it all together through the joy, through the laughter, through the sadness, through the anger, through the frustration, through the anxiety, through the fear, all of that. And you're healing your emotional body, so that way you have a much healthier, harmonious relationship with yourself. And then it starts to reflect in the outer. Okay, so I wanted to give you that information as well. Okay, Alicia, you said, Luki, I have two, Ayuki, with your twin flame as your king, and an Egyptian day celebration, also one where the pyramids were a church, and someone says there's a message from Jesus out back while horsemen. I'm not sure if I understand that sentence. Let me see what it says. Oh, while horsemen, can't trip my finger. Okay, horsemen came riding in from the desert. Alicia received the answer, but while on 11. Okay, all right. Well, that makes a lot of sense, because you know that the relationships that we are having is where we're heading. We're heading to that space of creating our true queendoms and kingdoms. And so as you are remembering yourself as the queen and kings that you are, that means that you're reclaiming your power. You're reclaiming all of the desires of your heart. The only difference this time around is you're not ruling anybody else's kingdom. You are governing your own kingdom. Notice the word I said. You are governing your own kingdom. This is a part of your own sovereignty and being sovereign. This is about aligning with your true heart's desire. True love is not just the romantic true love, but it's true love of all, true love of one another. Okay. And we're living in truth and aligning with the truth. We're living in integrity and truth. You're not walking around with the mask on, mask off. Okay. No more mask, no more covering it up and covering up, the things that you're doing and living a lie. So, that's one of the key things that I had to point out again, as far as what this means during this time frame. And as we continue on, as the new year comes in, okay, we're still going to be on the path of aligning with, true love at its highest. Okay. It's not where we're going to be experiencing the constant up and downs, because as we're, going up and down in frequency, because I know there's some of you where you've had a feeling of feeling that blissful energy, and you're feeling all excited, and you're feeling all of this wondrous amazement and everything that you're creating. And then maybe a few days after that, all of a sudden you start to feel things dragging back down again, and you start to feel like things not working out. But remember, each time as the soul is elevating, then in the lower chakras, we're clearing out and disintegrating all the stuff that doesn't serve us. And then we're realigning again and adjusting to everything that we're desiring. Because that way it's not going to be where you have something and then it's gone again and it's shifted this way. See, so that's the reason why things are happening the way that it does. So you don't have to feel as frustrated. And it can be frustrating. And we can't even make plans anymore. And that's why it's important to stay and to be in the moment. Just be in the moment. So if anyone else doesn't have any other questions and stuff like that, I just wanted to, or any statements. Yes, Ayuki, we're realigning and adjusting. If any females, if you have been feeling any womb movement, because I was experiencing that, where you're feeling like you're ovulating, or you're feeling, all of that is a part of what is shifting and healing in your sacred womb space. Okay, because your womb space is where things come into creation. And so that's why it's important, again, who do you have entering into that womb space? Who do you have around that womb space? Because it's within that energy. If it is anything involved with distortion or anything that's not in harmony, then, things start to fall apart. And it's very important, again, to be in flow with life and allow yourself to keep healing through the pain and healing through. Now, I know for me, usually I get so triggered and purging during the full moon. And I usually start to feel it a week before the time, not even like, the day of. It always comes in like a week before. And what I noticed is that I was processing instead of purging. And then I was like, I wonder if anybody else is going through it that way also. You know what I mean? And sure enough, there was someone else I spoke to. She said she wasn't feeling as much pain with something that would normally, be like a trigger for her with her twin. And I told her, I said, wow. I said, yes, that's exactly what I'm going through. But it doesn't mean that others may not, because there are some souls who are starting to become more awakened to themselves and awaken to their journey in knowing that they're a twin or something like that. But either way, almost everyone is on a path with their ascension, and it's happening in different increments and different levels, in different ways. So like I said, pay attention to the now and what is happening with you energetically, so that way it becomes easier for you and not judge it. First and foremost thing I have to say is not to judge it at all, and pay attention to what is happening astrologically with your sign. When you allow yourself to pay attention to what's happening astrologically, it is like a navigational system, okay? Like when you're driving in your vehicle and you put on that navigational system, it's going to tell you, if you have a good one, whether you need to reroute and go another direction because there's traffic somewhere, okay? You're not going to look it up in a book. It's not going to come from someone else. So therefore, you get to choose on the thing whether you want to go that new route that's less hassle, or you stay on the road where you're being in traffic. Your heart is your compass, okay? Your heart is your compass. You, by right, through the divine, it has been created from the beginning of time to be on your path to where you are to be, okay? Not based on what someone wrote before in history, not based on what's happening out in the politics and the government and all that stuff, okay? Or what happened last week at another place that you went to in a physical location. It's too often that you don't realize how much of your power that you give away because you're too busy relying on what someone else said and what someone else did and not following your own guidance. Pay attention to what is happening in your world. Pay attention and stay in your lane. As you continue to be on that path of joy and be on that path of wonder and amazement, that's what creates the magic. That's the magic that is within you, not outside of you based on what somebody else does. And don't compare your story to someone else's story. Their story is not the same as yours. Okay? So that's one thing I want to share with you about that, because I have stated before that the divine says it's time to pay attention to what message is being given to you. When you allow yourself to receive that message and also to place yourself like a chess piece where you need to be with certain messages that you are to get, is so often it becomes sad. But I know that we all have choices to make. When I suggest something and then the person says, no, I don't want to hear that. No, I don't want to see that. And I say, oh, well, that's where the missing comes in, because you never know when something comes your way that it may lead you to the next clue, is what I call it, to where you're to be and what is to happen next. You see? And it's so very, very often when I have said to someone or suggest that it comes up, and I remembered from 2 years ago or 2 weeks ago, and I said, I remembered when I said that. That is the part of the human nature, to turn away and to not want to look into, but then want to put so much power into other things that have existed before. And that's where the missing the mark comes in, you see? And like I said, it is an individual choice. But I tell you, the way I live my life right now, I listen to the inner voice, and everything that I hear, what Spirit is telling me, is happening exactly what is shown to me every single day. Every single day. I don't even have time. I don't even have time like to turn on the news. What? No, I don't even deal with, if I had to research or what somebody else's video said. It's like immediately I'm getting the message. And then if someone contacts me, like, oh, okay, I put that together. Oh, yes, this makes sense in the now. And then, and it's speeding up so rapidly that I'm even trying to catch up to myself. My body is trying to catch up to what my soul desires. And my soul is saying to me sometimes, fuck that shit. You're not going to do that. You're going to do this now. And I'm like, okay. And that's where I am. And even if I thought, but that's not what I want to do, it has nothing to do with that. That's the part of coming into that surrender. And I'm still living my truth, and I'm still being my truth, and I'm still being authentic. I even put out a video in Instagram. If anybody follows me on Instagram, where I put my son on blast and I've recorded him with something that he was doing, and he was irking me. I said, all right, that's it. And I was like, I didn't care if anybody see it. I was in the most rawest form I could ever be. And any one of my friends that know me well, they know how raw I can get. And I was like, whatever. You see, that's the part about being truth. That's the part about being yourself. That's the part about being real. There's no mask. There's no mask for me, at least to say. And so that's where and if you're not allowing yourself to be in that alignment of revealing yourself, and I'm not saying to go out there and say, oh, guess what, this one. No, it has to do with when something is presenting itself at the moment that you're experiencing it. And if you cover yourself up with it, or if you hold back and not, speak your truth, or if you feel that you want to be deceitful and not, because, a lie is a lie is a lie. And even just being deceitful, meaning you're not revealing something, is still a lie. It's still a lie. And so if you are in that space of being like that, guess what? The universe is supporting you for you to reveal it. The universe is supporting for you to reveal it. And it's not in a scary way where, oh my God, if you don't do this, then this is going to happen to you. And all, I'm not going into dogma and fear and all that stuff. No, I'm just letting you know what is happening. And it's the best for you, because like Mother always says that sometimes we got to rip the Band-Aids off. Sometimes, when you get a cut, you put the Band-Aid, and then after a while, you got to take it off, and you heal better when the wound is exposed more than when it's covered up. If you cover it up, then how are you going to be able to heal faster? You see? And so the more you allow yourself to understand that and align with that, align with the truth, align with what serves you the best, and not the old customs, the old ways, and just what someone else said from 20,000 years ago, and only what somebody said yesterday, busy focusing on somebody else's lane. Go back into your lane and see what shows up for you to heal. So I will stop at this note. Okay, Pat. Hello. Greetings, Pat. My friend Pat. You said you've been feeling different around me. Yeah. That womb space is what is the creative space for the feminine. And so as we are, and there's some feminine that haven't had a cycle in a while, and so that all of that is a part of what is recalibrating and shifting within the feminine. Okay, all of that is what's happening now. And there's some who are going through heart activations. There's some of us that are shifting things with our crown chakra. All the chakra systems is being activated everywhere, in all places. So, it's almost like being light up like a Christmas tree. That's what it's like. Okay. So I'm going to do, if you give me just one quick second. Making noise. And I want to do just a little meditation. And I just want us to take a deep breath as we're in this full moon. If it was warm outside, I would definitely go outside and do this with the moon. But the moon energy, and that's why I was told to do this in my office by the window, because there isn't anyone out there that is not feeling this energy. And just look at it, that you are supported by God. You are supported by the angels. Pay attention to all the signs that are coming through from your angels and from your ancestors, your relatives. I'm picking up that there's quite a few of you that are receiving guidance and assistance from your feminine relatives, okay? And even if that relative is alive, their higher self is communicating and assisting you during this time of your ascension, okay? So pay attention to what exists in your family to heal, especially surrounding sexuality, because that seems to be the biggest theme that is showing up. It's like we are going through the, what do I call it? Like the remnants of things that has affected humanity for such a long time, and it has to do with the distortions surrounding sexuality. And so what I'm going to do is encourage, even and including the males, because the males, you do carry womb space as well, because you also had incarnated as females in a past life. And what I want you to do, I'd like to suggest to you, I should say, is to get sea salt. Get the Himalayan sea salt or even the lavender sea salt and take sea salt baths. Or if you are in a country where you can go to the sea, I recommend that you do that. It's important to connect to the sea and the salt. And what you do is, as you are taking your bath, whatever dominant hand that you use for yourself, is that you just go in a space in your womb in a circle and saying that I am now in this lifetime healing and thankful for the healing that is present with me now to do with my womb space, and that any traumas that I have experienced in this life, for some of you who have experienced trauma, sexual trauma in this life, that you're now healing yourself from and through that experience. Also, that you are forgiving for anyone who has violated you from that experience and what it has done to you and for you. Because remember, we're not victims in any of this. We have brought these experiences to ourselves to shift and to show how much more we're coming into our own empowerment. Okay, that is why we go through these experiences. When you allow yourself to come back into that space of going higher with that state, you're able to heal yourself even more from what you're holding on to with that in that consciousness. Because all of these sexual traumas and sexual things and sexual experiences that have happened in the past and now, it's all in the consciousness. It's an energy. And that's why when you release that energy by taking the baths, going outside, hug a tree, and the tree carries energy. The tree gives life. The tree is mother. The tree is you. You're reconnecting yourselves, okay? You've been offline for quite a while. So it's important to heal yourself through connecting to the elements of the earth, which includes the water, the trees, and all that stuff. The crystals, the stones. Get the crystals and the stones to keep them on your body. Whether it's through a bracelet, through an earring, through a necklace or something. All of this helps you to stay in alignment, okay? If you are experiencing purging now during this full moon, because there's some who are experiencing purging and pain and anger and hatred and frustration, allow yourself to go through it and to move through that process. Okay, cry it out if you need to, scream, cuss, write it out, even if it doesn't mean that you tell it to the to the person, to how you feel. But it's important to release those feelings that you have, because that is what is connected to your emotional body. Because everything that involves you coming into the divine union of yourself has to do with your emotional, your physical, and your mental body. And usually most of the baggage that you hold on to is through your emotional body, and that includes the hurt and the pain that you experience from abandonment, which is that seems to be quite a bit the major theme with a lot of the feminine and masculine twins and in collective is abandonment, rejection, frequency. Okay, always remember to bring it back to yourself and what you can do to release that from within you and let it go, and bring yourself. Meditation is not just being in one place and folding your legs and just chanting. Okay, meditation can also be through dance and singing. Singing is one of the greatest mechanism to releasing and to feel and to connect again. Okay, very, very, very efficient. It works wonders. Okay, allow yourself to be in that flow with all of that you can do to bring yourself back into to balance. Okay, so chat. Okay, Ayuki, you said you carry crystals with you. Yes, I carry crystals and stones in my bag, because even I have I can show you some of the crystals, what they look like. Like I have this crystal, and you can even put them in your tub. I also have the rose quartz, and I have the amethyst, which that's my birthstone, and the amethyst is very powerful. Amethyst is my birthstone. It also represents, even with purple itself, it even represents as part of the crown chakra and what's activated with your crown. And also this amethyst crystal is what I used when I was having an enormous amount of back pain, which was about 2 years ago. And I actually took the crystal because I got it fresh. That came from this company that gets it off from the mountain. I don't know what country they get it from. I don't remember even which company I got it from, but I got it. And I took it and I just started to rub it on my back. And I just went up and down my back. And just within, oh my God, I would say within 5 minutes, that pain went away. And I was carrying that pain for weeks upon weeks upon weeks, straight up from my spine, going all the way up. And so I was releasing things from the past. And I knew it was from back in Egypt, carrying the burden of people and all these things. And I had to go through layers of healing with that. You see what I'm saying? And so do the same thing for yourself. Even if you put the crystals in the bath with you, because it's good to clean them and clear them. Like I said, go outside. If you're in a place where you can walk barefoot on the grass and connect and ground yourself. And it's very healing for you because it's permeating to the cells of your body. Okay? And even hugging a tree. All right, even that too, will help you immensely. If you're not able to go outside, even drive up to a mountain place or somewhere high and allow yourself to reconnect and to bring yourself into balance, and also to help you to release, because it's a releasing mechanism. It's a releasing mechanism. And don't put any time frame to how long it takes for you to heal, because we're still going to be going through, some of us are going through layers of healing, and some of you might be going through just periods of more recalibration of your higher self that is coming into your body, because your higher self can't come in all at one time. It'll be too much for the body. And that's the reason why some feminine twins have been in sleeping long hours and sleeping for so long. You're tired. You feel like you can't get up. Sometimes the ringing in the ears, or you're feeling heat. I still keep having heat that comes through my body, especially when I'm connecting to someone, and whatever messages that I'm getting and receiving, I will feel heat in my body, or I'm just feeling it after taking, a sea salt bath. So all of this is what can help you during this time that you're having. And remember, there will be a time where you're just going to keep feeling, joyful energy, and you might come back to something to look at, and then you come back to this and that, and just that's why it's important to stay in the now. Okay, so now I'm going to finally go into where Spirit is leading me into this meditation for all those who are listening right now, and those who will listen after, during the course of this full moon in Gemini. Mother, Father God, I thank you for this day. I thank you for bringing us all here together. I thank you for any messages that have come through for each and every soul, and where it takes us, and where we are on this journey, this path to healing, and this path to magic, and this path to love, and this path to truth, and this path to authenticity, and this path to more healing on the planet in every way. Thank you for the wisdom that flows through me and comes through others as we are interchanging all of this healing and all of this empowerment, as we continue to empower ourselves, as we continue to align with truth, and align with the frequency of love, and align with the frequency of joy, and align with the frequency of wonder and amazement, just like a child. I thank you for everything that's coming together, for all these divine unions, not only unions of ourselves and the union we have with you, the divine union with our divine counterparts, and those twin souls that are coming together in reunion, that everything that's coming in magically to do with all of us, and those of us who are on this path and are coming more and more into this journey, that it is bringing more things into balance on the planet, that we do not have to fear anything but fear itself. I thank you so much for everything that's coming together with the union of our families as well, and the union of communities, the union of countries, the union of everywhere that there's any type of strife, but just knowing that everything that comes up to the surface, anything that comes up that's painful, that we have the wisdom and the power to know that it is coming up to the surface, for us to look at it and to also to shift it again. So thankful for everything that's coming together, that's being illuminated now in this time frame, and that anything that is hidden in the dark is now coming to light as we are walking this path of truth, and we're walking this path of wonder. Asene me sheketolo bita mambe kindam rekitone dabatandom bamdara bekinna nacha. Ay la maravilla ura pasaka shareketor shiketoni milai kina besar kito shero pud pantiam te kinundera patamdera pakanuira ba. Ala mina bakodo mina bareketoro mina bakata shikiton simide pera kanna baka ina baka sholoko mina baka sarabakani era shikoto solo mina bashakatara me katar shikoto bera patara. Aina mera kore mera shikito sholoko ni mina bekitara me kuturi bikatala me katala me kano me kara makala mera mina ina me yamanina. I thank you so much for these divine coming together of everything and all things, that even if it may not make sense for us now, that we know that the truth and all things just are revealed in its moment according to our will and thy will. I thank you so much for each and every one of you that have joined me here. If anyone is interested, once again, I am offering 30-minute readings for half off for this month in December. During this time, and if you're interested, please feel free to send me an inbox or an email. I am so grateful and thankful to each and every one of you. Thank you for those who helped me to shift the energy of whatever was coming through with the masculine energy. You know, I didn't let that stop me. I didn't let any of that shift anything away from who we are and what we're here for. And that just remember that anyone that you feel is coming against you, it's not anything that's against us. It's just what's coming out of us. You know, there's things to come out of us, and the perception that we may have that it's darkness, and it's through the darkness that we give birth to the light. And so remember that you are the light of the world, and that light that you have, continue to allow it to shine, continue to illuminate through the darkness, and that darkness that is reflecting is also necessary to show who you are. Because, you know, you go outside now, we wouldn't be able to see this beautiful bright moon if we didn't have the darkness, you see? And so see yourself in everyone, see yourself in everything that's opposing you. Okay, that even through the opposition, you're showing up more of who you are as divine queens and kings. I love you immensely. I send you lots of love, peace, and blessings during this season. I love you.